All right. Turkey time. I had a very good day yesterday. I went with my cousin and we helped him up a really nice long beard. We were done by like 6:40 in the morning. So I'm coming off of that. I am to where I want to be right now, about an hour and a half earlier than I need to be, but I wanted to make sure I was the first one here. I'm exhausted. It's been the grind is starting to get to me between work, trying to hunt in between work, hunt before work. Got a few days off to hunt, scouting. So, but I'm optimistic. I'm feeling good. Today, kind of just threw a dart at the map. Spot looks good where I'm going. I didn't really have any other plans, so I'm gonna try to get in the woods early and hope something's gobbling. It rained all night. Rained real hard all night, but it stopped for about the past hour, and I don't think it's supposed to rain anymore the rest of the day. Ooh! Woo, 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 woo. Well, that's not a good start. It's still pretty early. I'm gonna give this spot a little more time, but if nothing gobbles here, I'm gonna bail and make a move. So I'm sitting here watching that hen in the tree, and I've heard a bird gobble twice, and I can't for the life of me figure out which direction it is. He's not close, wherever he is. Alright, he just gobbled again. He's kind of back towards where I parked. He's a long ways off. I think he's on private. Alright. I started going in a direction that I thought I'd heard that bird gobble earlier. And a crow went off. Bird gobbled. It sounds like there might be two of them. They're not that far away, but in between me and them is just thick, nasty stuff. So I'm going to try to do a loop on them. They've gobbled a couple times. So maybe me bumping them hens this morning, because a lot of the hens went a different direction than those birds are gobbling. So that could be a good thing. I'm going to try to make a move on them. That was pretty intense. I call, he gobbles, and then I see him 180 yards, 100 yards through the woods. I can just see pieces of him coming. He comes straight at me, but then he makes a turn. And he was behind all this stuff right here, about 30, 40 yards down in there. I could never see a beard on him. I had 1 or 2 clean shots at him, but every time he was facing me and I just couldn't see a beard. And when I called and he gobbled and started coming, birds right behind me gobbled, and it was those 2 jakes. They did not sound like jakes. So now I'm thinking, I didn't know what that bird was. I wasn't positive he was a longbeard because they all sounded the same. They all had the same gobble. So those jakes, the single bird came up in front of me, started working around behind me again. And then directly behind me, those jakes gobbled. I tried to get turned around on the tree. I made it about halfway, so I'm sitting sideways on the tree. They came up, spotted me. They didn't start putting, they started clucking, and I started clucking back to them. And they just kept clucking. I could have shot them a whole bunch of times. I was waiting for one of them to grow a long beard. So they definitely got a little squirrely. I mean, they knew something was up, and I don't know what happened to the single bird. So I think I'm gonna get out of here. It's still early, it's only about 8 o'clock. I'm gonna go check a few other places, and I think I'll probably, if I don't find anything else, I'm gonna sneak back in here before quitting time and let everything settle down. Maybe I can get one fired up. It's hot out here. All right, so I went to another spot that I've just seen on the map. I've never been into it, but it looked cool. So I walked all the way to the back, checked a few fields, got into the woods, called nothing. I'm on my way out, and there's a field right where I parked. It's a really long field. And I'm coming up the little lane, and I look way down in that field, and I see a turkey. So I get the binoculars on it. It's a hen. So I try to slip a little closer. I got some stuff in between me and them. I look down there again, and I can see a bird strutting. So I've got this in between me and them. They're about 600 yards away. If they stay where they're at, I might be in good shape. If they move, I could spend the next few hours trying to move on them. Okay, update. They're not in that corner where I first seen them. They've moved out into the middle of the field. I don't really have a play on them right now. They're out in the middle of a big ass field. I kind of just got to see and they got hens with them. I kind of just got to see what direction they go. Make a move then. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Alright, so to make a long story short, the last video I'd done, I'd seen this bird way out in the field. He was probably 1,000 yards away. I tried to make a big loop on him and come around. By the time I got to that spot, he was all the way across the field at the point of a hedgerow that came out. So I went back and around, and I had to go right past my vehicle, and a truck pulls up the lane, and it's the farmer, and he tells me that they're getting ready to come and plant these fields. And I'm like, all right, so I gotta get this done quick. So I actually get him to back his truck up, and I walk behind his truck because the turkeys around there, they don't seem to mind farm equipment and trucks, but if they see a person walking, they're gone. So I actually hid behind his truck, walked down the road to the top of the hedgerow, went down that hedgerow, crawled, walked, crawled. I kept sneaking in, looking with binoculars. He was still down there. It took me forever to get down there. By the time I got to the end of the hedgerow, he was right back where I'd seen him. They'd moved across the field right back to where I'd seen him the first time, where I had snuck around the first time. So I had to back out of there, go all the way around. This went on for a couple hours, and every time I'd get close to him, he hurt my feelings, man. He would never gobble at me calling, ever. I would call, he'd gobble like 5 or 10 minutes later at something else. He had those hens with him. I got to watch him breed 2 hens. Then it got to be about 11 o'clock. He gobbled, and I was only 60 yards away from him. I was right on the wood line. He was out in the field. I couldn't see him, but he was right there. And then a tractor pulls into the field and starts planting the field that he was in. So I had to wait for a little while till that tractor left. I figured he'd gone into the woods, so I get into the woods, make a big loop, call, nothing, and then I hear him gobble. He's right back out in the field after the tractor left. So I ended up having to crawl my way out to the field, called, and him and the hens were actually coming my way. He never gobbled at me calling, but I got him turned and coming my way, so I ended up laying down in the road. It was him, a Jake, and 2 hens. And I had the gun on them for a long time. They were about 40, 45 yards. But the Jake, I could only see the tops of their heads when they put them up, and the Jake kept putting his head up, and I couldn't tell if it was him, and then I'd see his tail fan strutting. So it took me a while to make sure that it was him that I was shooting. But he played the game right. He was a stubborn bird. I worked my ass off for him. I probably crawled over a mile altogether. He's a beautiful bird. He had so much color when he was out there in that field strutting. I've hunted a lot. I've never gotten to see a turkey breed a hen before, ever. So that was awesome. So, I'm gonna take some pictures with him and get him cleaned up.